So you bought a Wiesel Stingray sprayer, or you want to try spraying some of our Wiesel paint products with your existing sprayer. Today, I'm going to go through the where. I've shown plenty about our sprayer, but the where is that tricky part. Do you get the tent? Do you spray in your driveway and deal with the elements? Or do you create something like this? It may be a little intimidating at first. It was for me as a brand new sprayer. I painted 2 pieces my entire life. But before I did, I decided to really compile all the information I could find about spray boosts and what I could do within my small space. I work out of my garage, as many of you do, and it might be just more convenient to have something where it's a controlled environment that you can spray and keep the spray where it needs to be and not have to worry about rain or wind or any of the things you might find outside. So that's what I'm going to share today. I'm going to share my journey on how I created a paint booth in my garage. So if this is something you're looking forward to, stay tuned today.
All right, so as you can see, I drew a little diagram, figured out how I had to move my shelves around, and then I started just clearing out the area. That last shelf on the left was up against the wall, and I had to move it out and give it that little L shape. And then, of course, you got to go get the stuff. So I went to Lowe's or Home Depot, one of the, I can't remember, and got the wood. And then I just started playing and measuring and looking to see all the things. And I also got the fans, the lights, and the filters and the flooring, which will all be in the video description for you guys. And of course, get the miter saw out, start cutting. The biggest thing that you have to think about of all the things is how high you go. Make sure it's not so high that your garage door will bump into it. The width and depth will all just be based on what you have space for. And if you're a single builder like me, a lot of times I like to use the Kreg jig, which is perfect for those pocket holes and building on your own, which you'll see here in a second. So I have this specific model of the Kreg. I'll have that in the video description. It just allows you to make these really cool pocket holes with some clamps. You're good to go. It's something you can do all by yourself. So here we go. I started kind of assembling. Minnie says hi. Hey everybody. She's always out there hanging out with me. So I'm doing calculations on the size, the space. So I'm spacing out each one of these. And as you can see, the pocket holes make it really easy for me to just drill those in. I just basically could just hold it there. Didn't even really need to clamp it for this first set. And I'm going to make 2 sets. So I got the other side, there's a left and the right side. I got the other side, put it up against it, so I knew I had the exact same size. And I just flipped it over, added the bottom. So we had top and bottom. And then I'm going to do the same thing for the left side. So now we have basically the left and right side framing of what's going to be kind of like a little room that we're framing out. So I'm doing the same thing, flipping that one over. And if you need to, you can use a right angle just to ensure that the boards are straight, which you'll see me doing here. And then I just drop the screws down into my pocket holes. I'm telling you, if you're a builder and you're not like super great at it, and pocket holes are amazing because it just helps. And then just with those 2 sides, I rolled the piece in there because I needed to see it wasn't going to work. And then I started placing the boards across the top, testing that out to see, okay, got my height right, the door opens, nothing's bumping into anything. And then I start connecting those. What I used was just right angle metal hinges for that, as you can see there. And then I added one of the lights to see, okay, does it reach my plug, my brand new plugs I had put in, which ended up being a surge protector here shortly. And here's my little right angles, and they're bumped over just a hair on top to ensure my garage door doesn't hit it, but I could get a little bit more height, which worked amazingly well because it gave me just a few more inches of space on the height, which is important because the more space you have, the better. And then I used my crown stapler to staple my cover grip flooring to the actual framing of it to hold that down in place, along with the rubber bottoms. And then I started working on the rest of the lights. These lights daisy chain, so once the first one's on, they all come on, which was amazing. So that worked out really well. And then I put one to the front of where a piece goes, to the back. Well, let's see, how do we want to look at this? To the back of it, to the front of it, to the left of it and down the middle of it, because as you can see with the piece in there, the back side doesn't need to be lit up. And again, I rolled it back in here just to make sure, okay, if I put it up high, do I have plenty of room for the light? And it ended up being perfect with the amount of space I had before it got to the garage door. And I just kept playing around, checking it all out to make sure everything looked good before it was time to start doing the plastic. But before we got to the plastic, I added a couple extras. So of course the fans had to go in. This is my intake fan. So I have one fan going in and one fan going out, which you'll see here in a little bit. And then I added a hook, just basically putting the hole for now and ensuring that it was there so I can hang my spray hose on it, which you'll see here in a second. The hose is really, really long with your Stingray sprayer, which is great. But when you're not utilizing it, you want to be able to tuck it kind of up and out of the way. And then of course my surge protector, which I have plugged into my new outlet, which you can just flip the switch on and off and it'll allow the power to the lights and to the fan. And then became the fun part. We got my crown stapler out, my brand new toy for this project, and I got to stapling. I did the back and then the right and then the left, as you'll see, and I just straight up covered both of the fans, because we're going to cut those out once the plastic was tight. That was the best way to do that. That way everything was nice and tight and you could just cut around the fan. And I went all the way down with a crown stapler, all the way down, and left a little bit overlapping the cover grip flooring that we had. So now we have flooring that's completely covering our entire floor of the garage. That way it's not gonna get any spray or any paint anywhere at all whatsoever. And then across the top, covering the lights up too. That way you're not getting any spray up into your electrical area. So everything gets covered except for the fans, obviously. So then the fans get cut. So basically all I did was take an X-Acto knife and I cut around the edge and took some packing tape and just taped the fan back to the plastic, and that worked amazingly well. And then for the other one, you can see I needed a little bit of blue tape because I stuck a filter in there and then blue taped that guy in, which worked really well too, because you're going to want a filter for your outtake so it filters out the dust in the spray before it gets, you know, spraying all over your well, through the fan and out into your driveway, which you probably don't want. And this was the end result. Quick, easy framing. Put the lights up, put the fans, put the plastic up, and it wasn't that hard. I mean, really, it was just figuring it out. So I'm hoping this video really is helpful for you guys to know, okay, it's really just two sides, a back, and then you add the pieces in where they need to go. And then I have the little hole where you see the little piece of blue tape in the back where you can stick your finger through there and flip the little switch to the surge protector, which turns on the lights and the fan. And then my sprayer is outside of it.
All right, so you've seen all the rest of it. One part I forgot about was the door. So the door had this zip wall that I tried to use, but at the very end of the zip wall, it comes to a stopping point. So you can stop and zip up. I wanted to be able to actually roll the whole door up and out of the way. So when I'm not using it, I have this big wide open space, which is what I have now. So all I did was I just pulled off a little tab at the bottom and I utilized the zip wall as a stronger ending point for where the plastic stops, because it is just plastic after all. But once I had the zip wall on there, it was, this part right here is quite a bit stronger. And then once I cut the door open, I just actually rolled it onto a piece of PVC piping. I taped the plastic to it, and then it rolls all the way down. And the biggest thing is just to have the door there. It doesn't need to be a solid door. It doesn't really need to be anything other than to kind of trap the spray within the room and allow the fans to blow the whatever plume of spray is in there out. So it doesn't need to be, you know, this hardcore thing at all whatsoever. So for me, it was perfect because I could still sneak in and out of here as I need to with the door down. And then I put these just hooks, and they're just exactly that. They're like coat hooks, something really cheap. Again, DIY, quick and easy way to do this. PVC piping, just took that one big sheet, crown stapled all the way around, cut the slits on either side with the zip wall, and then left it on there. Now, because the zipper is not actually a functional part, you can skip the zip wall part, but again, to me, after adhering the zip wall to the plastic, it made the stopping point of the plastic much more sturdy and actually worked out for me, although I'm not able to zip it and unzip it. So you just take the PVC piping and you just kind of roll it up. You can roll it in or roll it out, however you want to. I just roll it in and go all the way up to the top. And again, this is just plastic, so if it gets tore up or gets holes in it, you can just rip it off and add new plastic, which is the other good part about just finding a good cheap plastic and nothing like a tarp or something that costs a lot of money. All right, so I go about that far, and then I push and rotate it up into the little hook, and it just sits there like that. Very easy, very cheap way to have a door without having to have actual like solid door or something that opens and shuts, because 9 times out of 10, you're in here doing stuff and you're not spraying. So you want to be able to go in and out of here, utilize the space as I'm doing now for kind of storage for the moment. So if you have it wide open through the doorway, which is just as wide as the actual paint booth is, it just makes it that much easier.
All right, not some of the best video, but I kind of give you a better close-up. Okay, here's the fan. I have it taped off and around, and then to the back, there's my other fan that's going out of the garage. And then here's my plastic over all the lights. And then in the back, like I said, I did a little cover that covered up the hole, and you can reach through there, flip the switch, and you'll see, boom, all the lights come on. The one light that's plugged in connects to the others, and as long as the little pull chain is on, they'll all come on, and then that's the power to the fan as well. So you have all your power with one switch. And then this is what you get. If you look down there in the middle left is where the hose goes through the plastic. So all I did was cut a little hole, put the hose through from the turbine. So it's our sprayer is a HVLP turbine, 3-stage turbine, and all it has is this little box, and it pulls air in, so you want to keep it away from your spraying area. So I have it on the outside. And as you can see, there's the hose. It went up and around the hook. And I was like, okay, let me get a little bit more hose and go over here. And this is the first time I've ever sprayed. This is our clear primer, so you're really not getting a whole lot of what the heck I got we're doing based on this, but I promise you here in a second you're going to be able to see. But the long and the short of it is just how quick this went. That's why I wanted to share this, and it was my first time ever spraying anything, and it just worked amazingly well. I did a surf prep rad pad in between coats, and then got to the painting. Now this was really cool and very satisfying, so I thought I'd share. Filtering your paint and having it be perfect when it comes through your sprayer is important. So you want to make sure you filter your paint anytime you're using a sprayer. But it was very satisfying to watch, so I had to add it in here. But Snow Owl was my first, Snow Owl 1 hour enamel, my first ever. Okay, so another little safety caveat, you know, iPro and respirator. And then you see me testing off to the side. That's my testing board in the very back. I just attached some plywood to the frame. That way I had a hard space to attach brown paper to test on. So I could just replace the paper anytime I wanted. And this was coat number 1, folks. This is the first time, again, I ever sprayed paint. And I'm telling you, this is 1 coat of white. And watch how much coverage this has spraying. It was unbelievable. So for me, I always expect 3 to 5 coats when I'm painting white, just because it's one of those things. You know, you brush through it, you brush strokes push the paint, move the paint, and a lot of times show what's below more than you'd like. But I'm telling you, it took me 2 coats to spray white. So I used less paint. It took me way less time. I mean, you see, this was fast forwarded, but I think it took me 5 minutes at the most to spray 1 coat. So 10 minutes for 2 coats of white, and that's all it took was those 2 coats. And again, first time ever spraying, but I'm telling you, having your own space makes all the difference, because you can just pull it in there, do what you got to do, and pull it back out, and you're done. There's no setup, there's no tear down. The space is always something that you can utilize for anything else, no matter what you're doing. And I mean, it's just this easy. I couldn't believe it. I was very happy. I'm very thankful that I took the time to make my own spray booth first.
And there you have it. Cool, right? So it's not that hard. I don't have a carpentry degree. I'm just learning how to use a miter saw. I just bought the crown stapler for this project. So it's not something that you need to have this special expertise in. It's just something you have to have a little bit of creativity, a little bit of ingenuity, maybe have some of the right tools, which hopefully this video helped out with, and then just maybe having some steps. And that's what I wanted to do with this video, is just share the steps that I went through, again, as a beginner, as not this super, building carpenter guy. I'm just not. I'm an artist after all. But I knew I needed this. I couldn't do the tent inside, taking it up, putting it down, the time it takes to do that. I couldn't keep going in and out of the garage all the time. That took too much time. Now I have this standalone space that is multifunctional, that once I close this up and I open that garage door, I have a place to spray all the time. And it was not hard. It was very much a DIY and very inexpensive. So if you have questions, please leave them in the comments down below. Hit the like, hit the subscribe if you enjoyed the video. If you're looking for more content about our Weisel Stingray Sprayer, please leave that in the comments down below as well. And I really, truly hope this inspires you to try spraying. If the wear was the problem, hopefully today will get you over that hump and allow you to figure out, wow, okay, I can do that. I can build a space in my garage or your warehouse or whatever you might have to allow you that opportunity to spray. But again, if you do have any questions, please leave them in the comments down below. I hope everybody has a blessed day, and as always, happy painting.